Store licenses, support, and upgrades, and the lifetime cost of Dell storage solutions is up to 50% less than that of EMC and Net.
Dr. John Allendorf. Winthrop uses a team approach.
Changes can actually inhibit the degradation of those proteins by their particular proteases, so you can't actually even use them the way your body wants to use them. So aluminium is a huge deal when it comes to proper cell function. So if we go back here, let me just remind you that it's important in the development of a healthy fetus, and quantities fluctuate naturally during normal cellular activity. We really have to scrutinize that. The other thing aluminium does is it damages cell membranes. Remember, I'm going to show you another picture in a minute. Sorry, I got ahead of myself. So this is the cell membrane representation of it. Phospholipids here. The lipids are in the middle and the phosphos are on the outside. And in the presence of iron, some of these lipid membranes can be damaged. And that's why we have our own antioxidant system. But in the presence of aluminium, these pro-oxidant reactions will happen more. So it's called peroxidation. So it's basically like hydrogen peroxide, which actually can be very toxic to cells. So when aluminium comes in with this iron, it will catalyze using certain enzymes and cause problems in that membrane. And remember what I showed you earlier, that the cell membranes and the environment and what's happening in those membranes has everything to do with how genes function and how the cell functions and how cells talk to each other and whether they grow or whether they die or differentiate and turn into different cells or whether they turn into cancer. Have a look at this schematic of a cell membrane, which is actually more realistic appearing than the one you saw before. And consider that each of your cells has around 100,000 switches, which have what are called receptors and effectors, meaning it has a signal comes in and then it has an action, okay? Now, that opens and closes to various substances on the outside, and it transmits signals to the inside, telling the nucleus what to do. Then consider the fact that after aluminium exposure, the membranes and the myelin, which is very important for nerve function, become stiff and dysfunctional. Dr. Verstraeten wrote 2 articles that are really important that detail in his experimental models showing how the membranes change in the face of aluminium. And Dr. Kawahara listed several pages of the biological processes that are significantly altered during low levels of aluminium. And he talked about 3 of them with medical references and how they change the lipid and phospholipids in the body, how they change the physical properties of this membrane, and how they change this membrane fluidity. I think of this as like the kind of car wash that you can go through that has the flaps that go down. And so your proteins are needing to move through this like it's fluid. It's almost like it's a matrix that these proteins can pop up and they can come back down and they can migrate. And it's very important that they're able to move around the way they're supposed to, and that this area stays functional. So when you toss aluminium into
3776, the telephone number on the Lexus of Route 10 hotline. Because his wife hates that he plays golf. Topic went to Facebook and you are chiming in. Ellen says no. What used to be normal? That is the new abnormal. That is the new freak. That is the new personally arrest this guy.
And that totally deflected attention away from the fact that this was